been paid to take him out. Not that I believe that.
At the time of John Kennedy's assassination, John Kennedy was looking at bringing Castro back into the fold, and he was looking to kind of settle the differences with Castro. And Castro actually had a pretty good speech actually after the assassination, and I think Castro was genuinely shocked that President Kennedy was assassinated. And in fact, they thought that President Kennedy was trying to reach with Castro. Castro actually tried to carry on with Johnson afterwards, and it fell on deaf ears on repeated occasions. So I don't think Castro would have wanted John Kennedy killed.
Did he put his head in his hands or something when he found out about it? Because wasn't he with John Daniel, or the French?
Jean Daniel, that's right. That's right. They were talking, and apparently the phone rang, and he said that everything after the announcement that Kennedy had killed, he says everything has changed now. Everything is going to change. So I think Castro was genuinely shocked that Kennedy was killed. But as far as a lone nut assassin, I think, according, because we don't know what Oswald actually said during these many hours of detention, but apparently he said something along the lines of commenting on Johnson, saying that the Vice President was Johnson and he didn't think that his policy was any different to President Kennedy's. Obviously he would have been privy to the back channel kind of private communications that were going on at the time. But there's never been a credible motive for credible evidence for any kind of motive in 60 years. Motive's very important to establish. In fact, Henry Wade, had this got to trial, Henry Wade would have to have established a motive. He'd have to have conveyed to the jury why Oswald did what he allegedly did. So it's a very important point. My second point is why would Oswald choose to shoot the President on Elm Street? The view was, it was a more difficult shot and the view was more obstructed, as we know by the tree. Instead of maximising his chances of success by targeting the President while he was approaching the Texas School Book Depository on Houston Street. Obviously, if you are a lone assassin, you would want to maximise your chances of successful assassination, because you must know that if you attempt something like this, you've automatically forfeited your life, because the chances are that you'll be caught or there'll be return fire. So you want to maximise your chances. So why do you think Oswald would choose not to shoot the President as he's coming towards him? Why wait until he's driving away from him on Elm Street?
Well, you could argue he wasn't quite as crazy as he's made out to be. And, you know, if he does shoot him whilst he's going down Elm, he has got a slight chance of getting away. If he takes the shot whilst he's on Houston, he'll never get out. He'll be seen. All the Secret Service are approaching the southeast corner of the TSVD. So that, I mean, there's no chance of getting away if he takes that shot.
The thing with that is that you've got to think he's got a hell of a nerve to hold as he's coming towards him. He's lined up waiting to hold off.
It's going to be messy.
Yeah, he's going to actually wait until he gets down the corner. And the joke is always, well, just wait to shoot him through the tree.
So it's nerves. You think
well,
it's
nerve as in holding your nerve.
Not as in he got nervous.
Nerves,
And thought, no, I
because
better.
then you're more likely to revenge shot.
Because I mean, you're going to really see what you've done
Yeah.
if he's approached. I mean, you've seen the photographs. You've seen the FBI photograph. I mean, those of us that have been there.
Yeah.
It is the shot to get the job done.
And
There's no gantry. There's no trees in the way.
And I think that'd be the most important thing. If you were hell bent on, if Oswald was hell bent on killing the President, that would be the shot that you would take. And I think that would be the shot any one of us in this room would probably take if you were of that mindset. To wait until he was driving away from you to a much harder shot and a more obstructed view, you've significantly decreased your chances of success.
In terms of assassination.
And with the limousine gathering speed, because it was obviously going to run its way.
So that'd be the most
slowing to
important
corner.
thing. If you're going to attempt something like this, you've automatically resigned yourself to either being killed or being caught and killed, either way.
Well, maybe he was still screwing the rifle together. He was about dying.
Yeah.
He couldn't just finally becomes.
To be honest,
He
I
was
mean,
delayed, he only got up there at 12:25. Yeah.
Even though the motorcade was delayed and was 5 minutes late.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. It's a very simple but important question, because if it was a lone assassin, if it was, and by the way, if it was a lone assassin, it doesn't mean it was Oswald. But if it was a lone assassin, that'd be the shot you would take. That would seem to me the only reason you'd wait for him to go on Elm Street is because you've got him in a triangulation of crossfire. You've got him shot from the. You've got him shot from the grassy knoll. You could have him shot from the Daltex building. Of course, it's all speculation, but that'd be the only reason in my opinion.
Also, the assassins, the real assassins, were professionals, and they weren't just there to sacrifice themselves. They were there to make a clean hit and get away.
Absolutely.
And that's their job. They, what good does it do if they get paid afterwards if they're dead? So they're going to make sure that whatever they do. There's a neatly arranged patsy, and the shots are from a place that they can escape from without anybody stopping them. There was supposedly a Secret Service agent up on the grassy knoll who came out from behind and said, "It's okay, I'm a Secret Service agent," and held up an ID card. But there was none. They were all in the motorcade. So who was that? And as one witness said afterwards, it didn't actually ring true, but I didn't think about it until later. He had dirty fingernails.
Yeah, that was Joe Marshall Smith. He went up on the knoll.
Whoever he was.
He
But
was
the point is that if they're real assassins, the reason that they would fire from certain locations at certain times is to be able to get away.
Yeah, I agree. That's why my whole research is all based on the Warren Commission's case against Oswald. I don't particularly like to kind of speculate on certain things, and I think that's the only way to prove conspiracy is by proving that the Warren Commission's case against Oswald was nonsense, basically. And once that's been proven, then by default it would be a conspiracy. I think establishing Oswald's innocence is the most important thing that we can do. That's in my opinion.
That's always been my answer to anybody that said, well, you can't prove conspiracy. Once you prove that Oswald couldn't have done it, then you don't need to say, prove who did do it.
Okay. It's
Or where they
conspiracy.
did it from.
Or where they did it from.
It's conspiracy, yeah, absolutely. So once Oswald's innocence is established, then it would by default show as a conspiracy. So my third point, and this is another important point, why would Oswald choose to attempt the assassination with only 4 bullets for a weapon that would hold a maximum of 7? The clip held 6 and one in the chamber, which would mean 7. Surely if you were a presidential assassin, you would maximise your chances by bringing X amount of bullets and even backup bullets. Your revolver, for example, in case you have to shoot your way out the building. How did Oswald know that he would require such a limited amount of ammunition for successful assassination and subsequent escape from the Texas School Book
He was
Depository?
very confident, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was a marksman, great marksman. Not practice for knowing where you're for that.
Does anybody know,
There's no way
were
that-
people who were spectators, for want of a better word, were they searched at all, or I presume they weren't
No.
searched?
The witnesses?
Yeah, and anybody standing watching nearby.
I've never heard of
So
anything.
you could have been from where I am to you with a handgun, and that would have been a lot simpler than a
In
rifle.
Texas, that would be very likely.
Yeah, that's,
Or
I,
I
mean-
mean, six shots, and
that's what Princip did, didn't they, when they
nobody
actually
would have had a
transferred
chance
that?
to get near.
No, they wouldn't.
But most of the other assassinations
They've all been
historically
close.
were with handguns.
Yeah, that's right.
That's,
Up close and
Around the
personal.
world as well, I think.
it's
Yeah.
nonsense.
And I mean, you could have set up a ruse like because he stopped on one part of the motorcade route, didn't he, to shake hands?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
put a few nuns on the sidewalk and take a shot.
But that's the thing. It's like that's what I'm trying to get back to is, can you imagine Henry Wade in a court of law if Oswald had been permitted to stand trial? Can you imagine him trying to convey stuff like this to the jury? I mean, there would be eyebrows raised all over the shop. I mean, obviously another point I'm going to get to is where he got the ammunition from, but that's another point.
Well, he had no other ammunition in his house,
No.
on his person.
That's correct. There was nothing.
Repository. No other bullets have ever been found.
Yeah, that's
Ever.
right.
Ever.
Also, you don't have, you wouldn't have half a dozen bullets loaded into the Carcano.
Well, it's like saying, I bought a box of bullets, used them all up in target practice, and I've got 4 left, I think I'll have a crack at Kennedy.
That's basically what it's like. Yeah, that is what it's like. You'd want again. It all goes back to maximising your chances.
Yeah.
And how did he know that he wasn't going to be fired upon? How did he know he didn't have to return fire? So all these are interesting questions. Of course, it's all indicative of a frame-up. We all know that.
Sure.
But this is all about just trying to show how ludicrous the case against Oswald actually is in the assassination. It's a very weak circumstantial evidence case that the Dallas police would have had.
But this is all predicated on him being a rational lone assassin.
Well, there was
I
nothing.
mean, if he is a absolutely irrational, crazy,
There was nothing to
assassin,
suggest that he
you
was
could see the other,
crazy.
you could see the other side arguing.
Well, as
Look,
Jim,
he was opportunistic. He only had 4 bullets. He didn't take a shot down Houston, but hey, he did it.
he never. It's quite strange. I through all the interviews I've kind of heard of Oswald, he doesn't come across as insane or irrational. He actually comes across as highly intelligent.
And very coherent.
Yeah.
That's the only argument you could make if he was absolutely.
And I think Jim Garrison actually said it as well. He said they tried to make out that he was insane. He was perfectly sane.
Yeah.
So there is no kind of rationale for doing something like that. I mean, again, I'll go back to it. Put yourself in Oswald's position. Would any other one of us here try this assassination with only 4 bullets?
The devil's advocate is that he
Well, it's a
only
moving
decided-
motorcade. What opportunity would anybody have with a fully loaded 6 shots? You just wouldn't have any need for 6 bullets. You'd really, you were saying before about the best shot would be on Houston Street, and then you'd only need 1. Not allowing
Assuming
for
the rifle
a
works.
defective scope and all the rest of it, but and that being the case, why didn't the window, the 6th floor northeast window, open? Because plenty of other the west side windows were fully open to the halfway point. Why didn't he do that to halfway?
It was a third
And,
open,
and
basically a
instead
third
of
open.
crouching crouching in the corner with a right hand shooter against the wall, why didn't he open the window up to halfway and stand behind the boxes? There was nobody else on the 6th floor to see him. Stand behind his boxes and fire from inside the 6th floor.
Well, that's what-
Kennedy approaching.
Well, that's what a professional assassin would do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, remember Dave the Jackal?
They would remain
He was
concealed.
completely inside the room
Yeah,
Yeah.
with his rifle.
and then Secret Service would just hear the bang and not really know where it's come from.
I think it would be a psychological thing. I think if you were to attempt this with only 4 bullets, psychologically that's very damaging. Like for me, for example, I would be wanting maximising my chances by bringing more ammunition. Of course, as well, he didn't know if he had to return fire on Secret Service or make a kind of Custer's last stand of it almost. So you would be bringing as much ammunition as you thought. That would be kind of mad.
The only thing would be is that, and it would be the reason why he wouldn't have had the pistol with him and had to get it from the rooming house, would be that he only decided to do it while he's at Mrs. Payne's on the Thursday night, while the rifle's there and there were only 4 bullets left over in in the garage. He wouldn't have the pistol there because it's like a spur of the moment thing, so something would have happened on the Thursday night, making him decide to do it. But I mean, I don't agree with that. I'm just throwing something out
devil's
there.
advocate, yeah, that's what it's good. It's good to get a bit of discussion. I mean, they say the Warren Commission basically said that he decided to do it on the 21st and that he made a bag and transported the bag. Of course, we'll get to that. There is no evidence for that. But also got to remember as well, in the searches of Mrs. Payne's garage, there was no evidence of any boxes, ammunition boxes, and that's the same as Beckley as well. When they searched his place, there was no evidence they had any cleaning materials for a rifle, any oil to maintain it, nothing. So,
Or any local gun shops that he could get that type of ammunition from.
well, yeah, that's another point I'll come to. The FBI did do a canvass, and there was only 2 places that he could have got the ammunition from, and both the store owners swore that he never sold them any type of ammunition. So
Oswald could have been part of the turkey shoot, not that I believe he was, but he could have been waiting. They wanted to make it a public spectacle, didn't they? They wanted to see him killed in public. So you had your 3-4 shooters around Dealey Plaza, and Oswald was one of them, so he waited until the others, the grassy knoll, the south end of the grassy knoll, they were all, I mean, we know there were 2 shots fired, well I think there were, at the time of the headshot, where you see the head go forward and then suddenly go back. There were 2 shots which arrived within milliseconds of each other. So maybe he was just waiting for that turkey shoot, which he was going to be part of.
I think if you study Oswald's shooting record, you'll find that he was a very poor shot. In fact, the Marines, a guy called Sherman Cooley told author Henry Hurt, if I had to choose one man in the whole United States to shoot me, I'd choose Oswald. I'd seen the man shoot, and there's no way they could he could have done what they accused him of doing in Dallas. So for anybody to rely on the skills of Lee Oswald to be a shooter in a professional hit, it would have. I don't think any other professional assassins would have went upon that.